Last time we made encaustic medium and then we made encaustic paint. Today we're going to just use the encaustic medium first and maybe make a good painting. We'll see. So I'm going to let this warm up and melt down, and I'm going to make an encaustic transfer. So I want to glue a piece of paper to this first. To glue the paper, I'm just using wood glue. I'm not that concerned about archival. I just want to get some glue on here. And the paper that I'm using, it's kind of a thin paper. So I'm going to spread this around first. Then I'll take this piece of paper, put it right on top. And I'll use a piece of computer paper so I don't tear the paper. And I'll use an iron to help create the bond. This should give me a nice flat surface. And I'm using this thin paper. I'm not even sure what it's called. I just like the fact that it's sort of an off-white color. It looks pretty good. I'll let it dry for a minute and I'll cut the edge. All right, and that looks pretty good. I'm going to try to cut this edge just by sanding through the paper. I'm not sure if that'll work. We'll see. I think it will. Yeah, that works pretty good. Now I'll take the encaustic medium and paint it over the paper. I like the color of that. If you want to know how to make the encaustic medium, if you didn't see the video last week, I'll put a link on the screen. And I'm just covering this. I'm letting it absorb into the paper. And once I've covered the whole surface, I'll come back with a heat gun and fuse it into the paper. Just using a regular heat gun that you can get at the hardware store. So you can see it changing. I really like that color. That's the whole reason why I'm using that paper. It just gives you that warm, kind of tan color. And in this case, it should sort of represent a flesh tone because this will be a figurative painting. If you want to make this painting or use the images for something similar, you can find the images on the post along with some information about the artist that I mentioned. And I'll have a link to the post in the description below and right here on the screen. And I'll let that cool down for a minute. Now I'm going to prep this drawing for transfer. If you're working with an inkjet printer, you have to trace the drawing in charcoal. If you're working with a toner-based printer, you can print the whole thing, but you will get these gray tones. So this is, and it doesn't have to be perfect, this is a drawing I made in life drawing class probably 35, 40 years ago. And I've just been using it as a motif ever since. I just liked the way this one turned out. A lot of them weren't good. Also, happened to be an attractive model, which was kind of unusual in college. This was the first class I had, and I thought, wow, this is pretty wild. I'm having this attractive woman take her clothes off in class. But then after that, it was sort of like these old guys. And anyway, this was one of the ones that I liked. So I kept it, and I use it from time to time. So now I have this image. I'm going to take that. Actually, I'm going to cut this line first so I can line up the image a little bit easier. You know what I'm going to do too? I'm going to use that charcoal and do a little shading because that'll come through. Make it a little bit different. All right, that's good. We'll see what happens. And now I'm just going to go over this with my finger. I can see the line through the paper. You can probably use a tool of some kind too, maybe a spoon or something. You definitely want to apply some pressure. And you can kind of just peek and see if it's working. Yeah, that's good. So now I'm going to go over this again with the heat gun, and that'll fuse the charcoal into the wax. You have to be careful because when the wax gets liquid, it can move your drawing around. So you just want to warm it up, but you don't want to puddle it. So now we have this figurative image, and maybe you can see what I'm talking about. The warmer paper sort of resembles flesh tones. So now we can kind of look at this as a painting. What do we want to do down here? What do we want to do in the background? And this is another motif that I like to use. If you saw the tissue box paper that I made, our tissue box project, I guess that's what you would call it, that I made last week, I had this motif on it. And maybe we'll just throw one of these in here. And this time, I'm going to trace it with a pencil. There's no rules. You can do whatever you want. And this is actually going to dig into the wax a little bit. So I can see that. I don't know what's coming up on camera. And then I can fill this area in with oil paint. This color is cadmium red. I'm going to paint it in here. And I can see that line. And also when I warm up the paint again, because I'll be fusing this in, fusing it into the wax, that area that's scratched away will help prevent the paint from bleeding into the other areas. I like this loose approach. Sometimes you can come up with something that looks good, something that you make rather quickly, but then looks pretty cool for years later. Sometimes it doesn't work, but I like the look of a quick approach because it just doesn't look so like overthought. And now I can fuse that in again with the heat gun. Maybe I'll try to get a tight shot. See how it separates the paint a little bit? You have to be careful. And that gives you those really cool textures, at least I think so. I'll put a little white down here. Maybe that will represent a blanket or something, or a towel. And I think when the background is painted, these tones start to represent more flesh tones just because the other areas are now no longer the same color. And again, I'm going to fuse that in. Just take the heat gun. So the oil paint is being fused into the encaustic medium. I feel like I might need another flower. I'm not sure if the flower makes sense, but sometimes just nice stripes behind in the background, like wallpaper or something. Almost like you're creating an interior. I don't know if you've ever seen the paintings by Modigliani, one of my favorite figurative painters. But yeah, let's go ahead and throw some stripes back here. Definitely maybe the florals and even the figure reminds me of Matisse, but I'll go ahead. You know, I might make black hair. That might look pretty cool. Just using a little straight black right out of the tube. And again, I'm going to fuse that in. Actually, maybe a little bit there too. Maybe I'll put another little bit of just a suggestion of a flower at the top here. And use the same red. Fusing in after every time I paint. What I could do now is add maybe a horizon line, kind of like as soon as these flowers went in there, it reminded me of Gauguin and the Tahiti paintings. So I'm going to throw I think a lighter blue here and a darker blue here. No, a lighter blue here and a darker blue here. And that might look pretty cool. Take a little of this white, some French ultramarine blue, and while I'm at it, I might as well mix the next. A little more blue on this one, a little less white. And let's see. I guess we'll go with I'm trying to figure this out. I'm stumped here. So you would see the ocean before the sky, yes. And I want to make this one much lighter. And I'll hit that with the heat gun again and fuse it in. Okay, let's see what that looks like in a frame. I've got my big gold frame that I made here in the shop. All right, well, I think that kind of a fun little painting. Now, the cool thing about this is you can make a print from this. It doesn't have to be an original. If you like what you make, then you can take a good photograph of it and maybe sell prints like this original drawing that is much larger than this. I've been using this as a motif for years now. Same thing with these, like the tissue box cover that I made, which I think is really cool. It's kind of fun to work with different mediums, different materials. Let me know what you think about Encaustic, what you'd like to see next. Maybe I'll do another Encaustic video. Maybe we'll go back and paint up in the studio. But again, I am planning to post some type of art-related video every Sunday, so I hope that you'll tune in for that. Please leave a comment, tell a friend. I'm really enjoying making these videos, so I hope that you're enjoying them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. If you're enjoying these art videos and you want to see more, check out my website. I've got a bunch of videos up there now, and I'm adding a new video each week. I'll have a link in the description below.